Ever heard of a power so immense it could bend the will of armies and rewrite the future? This isn't just a tale of advanced technology and epic battles. It's a look at what happens when one person gains the ability to control everything. So grab your popcorn and let's explore the world of the Aurum Force. In a futuristic world of floating cities and hyper-advanced tech, one fortress stood above all others, the Red Tower. From its balcony, Donald Dreamer surveyed the world below. He wasn't just a leader, he was a phenomenon. Dreamer possessed a rare energy known as the Aurum Force, a power that didn't just enhance his physical abilities, but supercharged his mind. Imagine having an intelligence so profound you could predict enemy movements before they were even conceived, devise strategies that were always 10 steps ahead, and command machines with a single thought. This wasn't magic. It was the Aurum Force, an energy that radiated from him, inspiring a level of loyalty in his followers that was absolute and unwavering. He was more than a general. He was the central processing unit of a perfectly orchestrated military machine. Now, you can't have a legendary leader without a legendary arsenal, right? Deep beneath the Red Tower, in a vault shielded from the world, lay the tools of his power. And let me tell you, this arsenal was something straight out of science fiction. We're talking 120 energy core bombs, not nuclear, but a fictional tech capable of precise, contained devastation. His ground forces consisted of 45 heavily armored hover tanks that glided over terrain, and 200 tactical armored cars ready for rapid deployment. Above them, a swarm of 300 AI-controlled fighter drones patrolled the skies, a silent and deadly air force. But it didn't stop there. The personal weapons collection was just as impressive. 80 pulse rifles, firing concentrated beams of energy. 40 Phantom shotguns for close-quarters combat. 25 Storm rifles, which, fun fact, were inspired by the design of the classic AK-47 but given a futuristic overhaul. Add to that 60 standard sidearms and 15 heavy plasma launchers, and you have an army equipped for any scenario. Yet, amidst all this overwhelming firepower, Dreamer's philosophy was simple. As he would often say, power means nothing without control. He saw his arsenal not as a tool for destruction, but as a means to enforce order and stability. Of course, a figure this powerful was bound to attract challengers. A global alliance, calling themselves the Shadow Pact, rose from the shadows with a singular goal: to dismantle Dreamer's authority. They saw him not as a savior, but as a tyrant in the making. During a tense briefing in the war room, an intelligence officer delivered the grim news: "They outnumber us 3-1. The room fell silent, the weight of those words hanging in the air, but Donald Dreamer remained unfazed. He simply closed his eyes, and for a fleeting moment, a faint golden light, the Aurum Force, shimmered around him. Minds do. For him, the battle was already won, played out in the infinite strategic simulations running through his mind. The first clash was inevitable. The skies became a dizzying ballet of light and metal as Dreamer's fighter drones engaged the Shadow Pact S Armada. On the ground, his hover tanks moved with the grace and precision of chess pieces, outmaneuvering the enemy at every turn. But here's what made Dreamer different. His goal was never wanton destruction. He fought for dominance, not demolition. Using his advanced tech, he disabled enemy systems, knocked out their communications, and shut down their weapons, all without wiping them out completely. It was a show of force, a message that he could end them at any time, but chose not to. However, the greatest threat often comes from within. Among his most trusted commanders, dissent was brewing. This commander had fought alongside Dreamer for years, but had grown to fear his leader's unchecked power. In a dramatic confrontation, he faced Dreamer directly. "You're not saving the world," the commander accused, his voice filled with betrayal. "You're ruling it." Donald Dreamer's reply was chillingly calm. "Someone must." In the chaos that followed, the commander managed to escape, taking with him classified data that detailed the Red Tower's every vulnerability. The ultimate betrayal had just handed the Shadow Pact the keys to the kingdom. With the stolen data, the Shadow Pact launched its final all-out assault on the Red Tower. The siege was brutal. Explosions rocked the floating fortress. Alarms blared as enemy forces breached the outer defenses. The battle was costly. 30 of Dreamer's precious hover tanks were reduced to scrap metal. 90 of his advanced drones were shot out of the sky. Critical power systems began to fail one by one, the lights flickering throughout the tower. It seemed as though the end was near, but Donald Dreamer had one last desperate gambit. He walked calmly into the control core, the heart of the Red Tower, and with the enemy at his gates, he shouted one final command: "Activate Aurum Protocol!" What happened next was not an explosion, but an awakening. The entire Red Tower began to shift and transform. Its metallic skin reconfigured, energy shields pulsed into existence, and the entire structure became a massive sentient defense entity. The Aurum Force, amplified by the tower's core, washed over the battlefield in a silent wave. Instantly, every enemy ship, tank, and soldier froze. Their systems shut down, their engines went quiet, their weapons fell silent. There were no explosions, no mass death, just an eerie absolute silence. The war was over, not with a bang, but with a whisper. In the aftermath, we see Donald Dreamer, not on a throne, but looking down at the earth from the quiet of space. He had achieved total victory. He held the power to conquer the entire world, to force it to bend to his will. But he didn't. The narrator's voice explains he had the power to conquer, but chose to protect. Dreamer had realized that true strength wasn't about ruling over others. As he looked at the blue marble below, he uttered his final thought on the matter. The future doesn't need kings. It needs guardians. He had secured the world, not to own it, but to guard it. A fascinating story of power, control, and the fine line between being a ruler and a protector. What did you think of this story? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think Dreamer was a hero or a villain? Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our next video. See you next time.